Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to teach you how to fold a peacock. This is folded from a 2x1 rectangle, which I'll go over a little bit more later, but I would rate this one as intermediate, as there are a couple steps that might be a little bit difficult if you don't have a lot of experience folding, but it's nothing too crazy. Now this is my favorite one that I've folded. I used a sheet of paper called Marbled Momi to fold this one. I used the back side of the paper to fold this one, and then I used the front side of the paper to fold one as well. I liked the way it looked from the back side a little bit more. You can shape it with the tail feathers up or down. Both of them look really cool, but it is quite a bit harder to get it to stand up on its own if you have the tail feathers up. Now this paper is made in Thailand, but I bought it from a website called mulberrypaperandmore.com, which I'll link to down below. I'm not affiliated with them or anything, I just really like their paper. They have tons of different unique papers on their website. I bought a bunch of different kinds recently that I've been trying out. This one was folded from a sheet of Italian marbled paper that I got off that website, and it was called Peacock Blues. Now again, this one's folded from a 2x1 rectangle, and most of the time on this channel I teach designs folded from a square, but I really liked this one, and it's pretty cool because you can fold it from a dollar as well. The proportions of a dollar aren't exactly 2x1, but this can actually be folded from any decently long rectangle, and the length of the rectangle will just affect the width of the pleats on the tail feathers. But I'll be using that 2x1 rectangle in this video, which will actually be a 6" by 12" sheet of kami. I've also folded this from a sheet of printer paper cut down into a 2x1 rectangle. That works well also, but it is a little bit thick. It still looks great in the end, but I added a little bit of water to help condense this down to hold its shape a little more. But a lot of people have printer paper on hand, so that will work just fine if you have that around. I'll show you a quick way to fold a sheet of printer paper into a 2x1 rectangle. This method will work for any rectangle that's wider than 2x1 as well. You just bisect an angle, then fold it in half and make a small pinch mark that intersects with the previous fold. Then make a valley fold that runs parallel to the long edges and runs through the crease intersection you made. Then just cut along that crease, and now you have a 2x1 rectangle. So now that you have your rectangle, let's start folding. Now the colored side is going to be the side of the paper that's going to be visible when the peacock is complete. Now we're going to start with that colored side down. Now we're going to bisect both of these corners on the left, so we'll take this edge on the left and bring it up to the top. And then unfold. And then bring that left edge down to the bottom. And then unfold. Now turn the paper over. Now we're going to valley fold in half lengthwise, so we'll bring the bottom up to the top. Just make sure it lines up all the way across, and then crease it down. And then unfold. Now we're going to make a valley fold that runs right through the center of this X on the left, so we'll bring these two corners over to where these creases meet the edge. And crease that. And then unfold. Now we'll turn the paper back over. Next we're going to collapse this area as a water bomb base. To do that, just bring these two edges down to meet in the center over here. Now once you do that, everything should start to collapse at the same time. And then just press it all down firmly. Now I'm going to rotate the paper. Now we're going to focus in on this section up top. We're going to take this flap on the left and we'll turn that into a squash fold. To do that, we'll point it straight up in the air, then spread these two layers apart from each other. And then we can squash that down symmetrically, just opening those two layers apart. Then this crease should lie vertical. Next we'll bring this edge on the bottom left into that center crease. Yeah, same thing with that edge on the bottom right. And then unfold both of those. Next, we're going to turn that into a petal fold. So we're going to swing this bottom point all the way up to the top. And as we do that, we're going to reform those creases that we just made. Then we're going to have some new creases that extend all the way out to this point in the center on the bottom. And now swing the point down. Next, make a book fold. Just swing one flap over from right to left. Then we're going to repeat all of those steps on the right side. So we'll open that flap up and turn it into a squash fold. And bring these two creases into the center. And then unfold and turn that into a petal fold. And then fold it down. And then swing this flap from left to right. Should all be symmetrical now. Next, we're going to tuck this point inside. To do that, you can just tug these flaps apart from each other. You just pull them out to the sides. That point will start to swing through. Then we're going to make a mountain fold that runs between these 2 points. And then make sure that point swings inside and close this back up. Now it should look like this. Next, we're going to look at this flap on the left. We're going to turn this into a squash fold. We're going to point it straight up in the air. Then we're going to spread the flaps apart on the left side. So open that little pocket up. And then you can press that down, swinging the point over to the left. If you did that correctly, this point should now touch the edge on the left. Do the same thing with the flap on the right. Next, we're going to take both of these edges and bring them into where these edges meet in the middle. And then take the top part of that flap and fold it down. And repeat those steps on the right. Now I'm going to zoom back out a bit. Next, we're going to take this edge on the top left and bring it into the center vertical crease and just swing this flap out of the way as you do that. Then you can swing that flap back over. Do the same thing on the right. Swing the flap out of the way and then bring that edge into the center. And then swing it back. Next, we're going to make a crease that's halfway between this point and this point. So it'll divide this section in half. To do that, we're going to just take this point and make just a small pinched mountain fold, and then bring that down to where these edges meet each other. And once it lines up there, just swing the point all the way down, and then crease it, just making sure this lines up in the center. And then we'll unfold. Now turn the paper over. I'm going to bring this bottom edge up to that crease that we just made. And then unfold. And then bring the bottom edge up to that new crease we made. And unfold. Now bring this mountain fold down to this crease. Form that into a mountain and then bring it down to that crease. And unfold. Next, we're going to divide each of those 4 sections in half. So take this bottom edge, bring it up to this crease. Unfold, and then bring the bottom edge up to that crease closest to it. And unfold. Now bring this mountain fold down to this crease. That's the second one from the bottom. 1, 2. And then unfold. And now bring that mountain fold into the crease closest to it. And unfold. Now turn the whole thing over. Next, we'll divide each of these sections in half, and we'll do that by pleating the paper all the way up. So just take the bottom edge and bring it into the crease closest to it. And then form that next crease into a mountain fold and bring it up to the crease just above it. And then just keep repeating. Now we've reached that crease, and we're going to turn the paper over and then turn this crease into a valley fold. And now we'll turn that back over. Next, we'll take this edge We're going to bring it down to this bottom edge, just bisecting this angle right here, but we're only going to crease it into the center vertical. So just fold that over and start the crease, but then stop right when you hit the center. And then unfold. The same thing with this edge on the left. Unfold. Next, we're going to make a rabbit ear fold with this section up top, and as we do that, we're going to fold all of these pleats behind. So we'll begin by folding the whole thing in half here. And I'm going to turn this around and complete that rabbit ear. And then close all the pleats up together. Next, we're going to focus on these pleats on the left. We're going to take one of these pleats and unfold it, just the very first pleat. Then I'll try to show you what happens in the center here. As you fold that up, just press it together and it'll form some creases here. I'll show you from the other side. You can see there's just a couple new creases made right there. I just focus on lifting that pleat up, and then we're going to take that pleat that we just lifted up and fold it in between these two layers, just right over that first edge. Just tuck it in between those two edges. And as you do that, you'll have to focus on this area that gets closer to the body. That's the hardest part to get tucked in there. And then we want to turn this over and we want to lock that in place. So we're going to look at these creases. We have this edge right here, just the raw edge of the paper. I'm going to take that raw edge and push it over to the right. And then hold the edge that's closest to it. So we have the raw edge and then the first folded edge. I'm going to take this point and fold it down through both of those layers at the same time. And then close it all up. And then turn it over, and that should be locked in place pretty well. Next, we're going to look down here at the legs. We need to form some feet. So we're going to do that by making really small crimp folds. So you'll just decide how big you want the foot to be. I like to go about right here. Poke the foot out. You can just fold it straight up. And then turn that into a tiny crimp. I usually do this, it's a really small detail. Do that by kind of poking my nail right in the center on the bottom. Then you close it up. Then turn it over, and we'll do the same thing with the other leg. Try to make them the same size. Next, we'll take this whole area and we're going to make an outside reverse fold, folding this point up. So open these layers up symmetrically and then just pop it over to the other side and close it up, starting the crease right from where the leg is. Then we just need a little outside reverse fold to form the head. Just open those layers up, pop it over to the other side, and then close it up. And then our peacock is done. Now you can let it stand up like this and just kind of shape the tail feathers a little bit so they're open. You can let it stand up that way, or you can shape it so that the feathers are upright. Both ways look really, really cool. Just mess around with it and see what you like. When they're folded up like this, it's pretty difficult to get it into a place where it can stand up on its own. I haven't been able to get mine to balance too great when I do that. So I usually leave it out like this. But definitely play around with it and see what you like the most. Now, if you find some really cool paper, you can make this peacock look awesome. And here was my favorite one again. The paper I had from a website called Mulberry Paper and More. You guys find some really cool paper, and this is an awesome one to have on display around your house. And if you liked this video, make sure to go smash that like button. Now, I do post new origami videos every single week, so make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell, and then I'll see you in my next video.